So, hello all. Welcome to the Lehigh Valley Community Foundation's virtual information session for the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts, Partner in the Arts, Creative Entrepreneur Accelerator Program. We thank you all for taking the time out of your Friday to join us. Next slide, please. So before we begin, I wanted to briefly just introduce the community investment staff here at the foundation in our respective roles. My name is Monique Marino. I am the program associate, and I am the point of contact for all arts, culture, creative economy grants, including the Pennsylvania Partners in the Arts program. I am the person to contact for any questions or information for these programs and can also offer technical assistance. I also represent the foundation for our arts, culture, and creative economy community leadership activities. And I also project manage the foundation's other grant cycles too. So I'm pretty busy here. And Megan, if you'd like to just introduce yourself briefly.
Sure. Yeah, good morning. I'm Megan Briggs. I'm the Director of Community Investments. I've been here since 2017. I see our foundation directed grant making programs, which include arts, culture, and creative economy in supporting Monique, and then also our capacity building work. And then our third focus is youth and their families. I also really dislike this photo and but it's like the only one that I have. And so I'm gonna have to figure out how to take a new like professional photo and integrate it, because I don't think that's a good photo.
Megan, I can completely empathize. I understand. I don't know if I ever really love my photos. I think I have two, and I don't know if I love either of them. So completely get it. But thank you for your introduction. Megan mentioned she's been with the Community Foundation for 5 years. I actually joined last year in the midst of the pandemic. So that was an adventure in and of itself, as you can imagine. But I'm very happy to be here, and I really take a lot of pride in the work that we're doing in the community. Okay. Next slide, please. All right, so this is some of our goals for the information session. We have to click it again. Transition here. There we go. So of course, we plan for our attendees to be able to get a full overview of the Creative Entrepreneur Accelerator program. And we will go into the application process as well. So as a note, there are two acronyms that we will reference throughout this session. The Pennsylvania Council on the Arts, we will reference as the PCA. And the PCA program that this session will give an overview is about the Pennsylvania Partners in the Arts program, which we will reference as the PPA. In today's session, we're going to introduce our foundation since we are a new partner to the PCA. We hope that after this, you'll have a better understanding of the program, of the Creative Entrepreneur Accelerator program, and you'll get a better understanding of what each phase of the application process will look like, as well as key program dates. Our presentation will conclude with a general overview of the other PCA programs and partners in our region, and then we'll open the floor for any questions. Next slide. Okay, so here in our meeting agenda for today, it's listed up here on the slides. I won't go through everything, but just so you have an idea of what we're going to cover. If there's any topics that you don't see or hear us cover, please feel free to mention it during our Q&A session at the conclusion of the presentation. We do invite you to either list your question in the chat or you're more than welcome to come off mic and let us know. We just want to be flexible. We know that like when you're meeting on Zoom, everyone is in different places, different spaces, may or may not be able to come off video, but we'd be happy to hear from you and see your face. Okay. And here we go.
Okay, so I'm just gonna give a brief overview of the Community Foundation and also what it means to be a PCA partner. I'm gonna run through this rather quickly because I think the most important thing for you all to get out of the session today is, you know, this program and, you know, the eligibility and how to apply. So while I'm running through this quickly, I'm also very much available for any of you at any time to walk through the Community Foundation and all that we do. So just want to put that out there. So our Community Foundation has been here for 50 years in the Lehigh Valley. We are a collection of charitable funds, and we work with many different philanthropists. We have around 250 different funds at the Community Foundation. And so our overarching mission and goal is to really work with the region's philanthropists to assist in directing philanthropy in a way that really matters, in a way that's impactful for those that are living in the Lehigh Valley, in a way that's going to invest in this beautiful place. And so that's our sort of overarching role. We have many different funds. Some of the funds are really restrictive. Some of the funds are really open with no restrictions. And so when we say foundation directed grant making, which is what Monique and I primarily work on, it's those funds that are unrestricted, and we can utilize them in the ways that we feel is best to make an impact in the Lehigh Valley. So we are, and as Monique had mentioned before, we are new Pennsylvania Council on the Arts partner. Pennsylvania Council on the Arts is a state agency, and their mission is to strengthen the cultural, educational, and economic vitality of Pennsylvania's communities through the arts. So what they've really done here is that they're a statewide agency, but what they realized is that they don't really know the nuances of these different regions across the state, especially when it comes to smaller business owners or smaller nonprofits in the arts. So they rely on a sort of distributed network of agencies in order for one partner in that region to really make connections with those artists or those business owners or those nonprofits that's located in that region, to then help them inform how to grant their dollars. So our position is really that partner in this region to who understands the local fabric of the Lehigh Valley that can help inform the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts. So we are re-granting these dollars. We do not own these dollars. These are the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts dollars, but we're the partner here who's charged with granting them in the way that's informed by our position in the Lehigh Valley. So I hope that makes sense. And we took on this specific role because we felt that there was a gap. We wanted to be able to be a champion for arts, culture, and creative economy from the funder position. So we wanted to be able to step into this space to say, not only are we interested in distributing funding, but we also want to use our human resources, our staff time, to advocate for arts, culture, and creative economy in the Lehigh Valley. Additionally, there the PCA's value of diversity, equity, inclusion lines up with the values of our organization in terms of we are doing grant making using an equity lens. And so because it aligned in that way, we were interested in being this region's partner. Just so you all know what this region is, it includes 4 counties, which are Carbon, Lehigh, Monroe, and Northampton. So we're servicing that whole area. And then, oops, I went too far. And then this just kind of gives you a graphic of the role of a PCA partner. And we're particularly the partner for this program, Pennsylvania Partners in the Arts, which is the PPA. And I think Monique already mentioned that acronym, right? So our role is really to publicize these different grant opportunities, to administer the application process the grants, and collect the reports. And in this case, we'll also be the decision maker also, but with the guidance of the PCA. So that's our particular role.
Thank you for that, Megan. And of course, if there's any questions on that, we are open to answering those more specifically during the Q&A session as well. So now that you all have a better understanding of what the Pennsylvania Council of the Arts is and our partners in the arts program, we're going to dig into the Creative Entrepreneur Accelerator program. For the purpose of this presentation only, I'm going to reference the Creative Entrepreneur Accelerator program as CEAP. It can be quite a tongue twister if you have to keep saying it over and over. So CEAP is designed to pair access for creative entrepreneurs who aspire to either start their own for-profit business or who operate an existing for-profit business, micro business, to existing small consulting services with financial resources. The PCA intends for this program to provide funding for to help creative entrepreneurs grow their business, audience, and revenue, advance the PCA's overarching value of diversity, equity, and inclusion, prioritize investments to creative entrepreneurs who identify as Black, Indigenous, or people of color, and prioritize investments to creative entrepreneurs located in and whose work benefits low-income communities as defined by the Small Business Administration. We can head to the next slide, Megan. Okay. So entrepreneurs who are eligible to apply are able to do so once every 3 years. You do have to be at least 18 years of age and a current resident of Pennsylvania for at least 1 year. For those who operate a business, or even if you're looking to start a business, so either way, your business annual gross revenue has to be less than $200,000 a year. And it would need to be in one of the following or one of the listed creative industry areas: marketing, architecture, visual arts and crafts, design, film and media, digital games, music and entertainment, and publishing. We can do the next slide, please. So if awarded grant funding, funds are eligible to be used for each of the items that are listed on this slide. I'll just really briefly kind of like go through them. Professional fees for workshops, consultants, career coaching, participation in events, trade shows, festivals that offer access to audience and revenue generation potential. Business development fees for courses or seminars for business skills, research and development, marketing and promotion, development or upgrades to technology related to business practices, studio, rehearsal, rental, space rent, reasonable fees for supporting collaborating artists, and purchase of supplies and equipment. Funds cannot be used for activities outside the funding period, activities that have a religious purpose, payments to lobbyists, activities for which academic credit is given, offsets to regular business operating costs, including regular salary or wages, and they may not be used for hospitality, food, or beverages. Next slide. Now, this slide is where we get into the nitty-gritty, and I'm sure what you would all like to know is how do you apply? So we have this simplified graphic that kind of shows the steps, the initial steps that you'd want to take in order to be invited to submit an application. So entrepreneurs who are interested in applying will have to have 2 initial forms submitted to the Lehigh Valley Community Foundation. One is an entrepreneur information form, and the second is a referral form. The entrepreneur information form is to be completed by the interested entrepreneur. The referral form would need to be completed by a referral coordinator from one of our participating referral partners. Please note, these don't have to be submitted in any particular order. So if we receive the referral form first and then an entrepreneur information form, that's fine. We just need both. And the next step is once we receive both of those forms, LVCF can now make a determination if you're eligible to apply and to actually look at what funds are available. So just to elaborate on the referral partners, we have participating referral partners who provide small business consulting services and accept clients based on the counties that they serve. Prior to issuing a request for service, ensure that they service the county that your business is either currently operating in or you intend for it to operate in if you haven't started your business just yet. For a list of our referral partners, please, you can check out our website. There is a Creative Entrepreneurs Accelerator Program webpage. We also intend to put a copy of that link in the chat for you to be able to reference. Entrepreneurs will also have a chance to request assistance. So if you're not sure and you need some help with finding out who your which referral partner you can see, you can always indicate in your information form, there is like a check mark asking for assistance finding that referral partner. So just be mindful that any follow-up communication once the entrepreneur information form and referral form are submitted will be sent via email, whether it's an invitation to apply, whether it's a notification that you're ineligible for the program, or if more information is needed, it will be sent through email. So please keep an eye on your inbox or your junk folder during this process. Before I move forward, Megan, do you need me to share that link in the chat?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was trying to pull it up, but it's hard when I'm like sharing the screen too.
Nope, I figured that.
Okay.
I just want to make sure you all get access to that. Okay, I may have to go back in. So during our Q&A session, I'll go back and I'll share this, share that in the chat for you all. I'm gonna go to the next slide. Okay, so for those who are invited to apply, the application will be completed online through Foundant, which is LVCF's grants portal. The email that you receive inviting you to apply will have step-by-step instructions on how to access the application. If you need any assistance, the email will be coming from me, so you can always email me with any questions. But once you're able to access Foundant, the application itself will collect some additional information about your business. And it will also include 2 narrative questions. Sorry, is everyone, can everyone hear me? It seems like there might be some trouble hearing me? Okay.
I think you're okay. I think perhaps someone else heard an echo, but it might be just like their log on. So I would suggest for that person to maybe log back on, off and back on.
Okay, I just wanted to get a feel for the room. Thanks. All right. So to continue on, the application, like I mentioned, is going to ask for information about your business, and it will ask 2 narrative questions. One of those questions is describe the use of funds and activities that the funds are planned to support. The other is the amount of the grant you are requesting and what do you hope to achieve with those funds. Once you have been able to submit your application in Foundant, that is when we will be able to review your information for funding. So for entrepreneurs who are selected for a grant award, there will be an assigned follow-up process in Foundant. We just want to give you that heads up. So you want to make sure you have that password and username accessible for you to log back in. And it will include a grant agreement and the submission of payment information. So that's another thing to think about too, especially if you're starting your business. And we do encourage all grant recipients to allow for an electronic payment via ACH transfer. The full grant amount will be dispersed at the beginning of the grant term. Each term is 1 year, and all grant recipients will be required to submit a final report describing the use of grant funds and sharing information about growth of the business during the grant term. Okay. I think we can move to the next slide. So we have, this is a rolling, so applications will be accepted on a rolling basis for this program. However, there are some key dates in which funding decisions will be made, and it will be made as like cycles. So if you look at the dates here, it'll let you know from what date to what date those applications will be reviewed. And then this is why it's just important to remember that an application isn't considered complete until we receive the entrepreneur information form, the referral form, and the completed application in Foundant. At the end of each cycle, applicants will be notified via email of their grant award selection and next steps. Okay. And I think we can move to the next slide.
I'm sorry, you ready for the next slide?
Yeah.
And you'd like me to go over this piece, right, Monique?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. Yeah. So one thing I just wanted to just raise up here is that while there might be a couple steps in the process to get like a complete application, the forms are relatively short and straightforward. And so while there's multiple steps, the forms aren't too much of a lift, I don't think. Another thing is that our role here is really to provide that hands-on technical assistance. And this program is really about like getting to a yes, as long as the business owner is eligible and we have remaining funds, then we're actually really encouraged to say yes to the application. So this is not like a competitive process. It's more around like, if you meet the eligibility criteria and we have all the information, then there's like a good possibility that we would be able to award a grant. And so I just want to flag that to say, like, we want to be as helpful as possible because we do know that there are many steps in order to get a complete application, and you're signing into maybe a new grant making platform using Foundant. and if you're not connected to a referral partner, maybe that's an additional step in the process. But what I'm trying to say is, like, we're here to support you to get through this, because ultimately we want to be able to distribute funds to entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs that are doing this work in an equitable way. So, so the other programs that are managed by Lehigh Valley Community Foundation, I just wanted to briefly go over so that you're aware in case you might be eligible for some of these other programs. So one is entry to program stream. That's an open application process for any art organizations that have a revenue of $200,000 or less. So that's going to be opening up, I believe it's November 29th, right, Monique? Yeah, okay. And so we're going to have information sessions around that grant application process for nonprofit organizations, again, $200,000 or less. And then there is also a program stream program that we're running, but that's invitation only. And so unless you're already in that, but basically if you apply to entry to program stream, you would be shifted to program stream potentially as you grew, which is a general operating award. So happy to answer questions about that at any time, but those are some of the other programs that we're managing through this process. We also wanted to mention that there are several different Pennsylvania Council on the Arts programs in the region, and we're not the only regional partner managing those programs, just to make it a little complicated. But the other PCA partner in the region is ArtsQuest. So they're running a couple programs there too. And the purpose of us really mentioning this is that we, both the Community Foundation and ArtsQuest, really want to work together in order to provide, like, these are all the eligible, you know, programs that we're running, and based on, and make it a lot more simpler for people in the arts, culture, and creative economy to understand, like, which programs are available, who's the partner, where you should go for these different things. And so we're sort of working in partnership to be able to offer that more easily in this region. They offered both the arts in education program, and you would have to contact them for more information about that, but we do have their website that has that information, which I can drop in the chat.
Thank you, Megan. And thank you for mentioning that about the application process. I think that was a really, really important point about, although we know there's many steps, these forms and steps are meant to be straightforward and simple, and we are here to support you. So at this point, I'd say we're concluding our presentation.